Apple. The apple is probably the most recognized fruit in the world, especially in cooler regions. Although apples are now grown across nearly every continent, their story began in the wild forests of Central Asia, where the ancestors of modern apples still grow today. Ancient traders and travelers carried their seeds westward, but the Roman Empire played a major role in spreading improved varieties throughout Europe. Early apples were much smaller, harder, and more sour than the sweet fruits found in supermarkets today. Their transformation happened over thousands of years as farmers repeatedly selected trees that produced larger, sweeter, and more attractive fruit. This created thousands of apple varieties, each developed for a different climate, flavor, texture, or purpose. Some are designed for eating fresh, while others are better for cider, pies, sauces, or long-term storage. Apples contain fiber, vitamin C, and plant compounds that may support heart and digestive health. Mango. The mango is often called the king of fruits throughout South Asia, where it has been cultivated for more than 4,000 years. It originated near the foothills of the Himalayas in parts of India and Myanmar before becoming deeply connected with religion, royalty, poetry, and traditional medicine. Mango groves were considered peaceful places for meditation, and the fruit appeared frequently in Buddhist and Hindu traditions. During the Mughal period, rulers planted enormous mango orchards and encouraged the development of new varieties. Portuguese traders later carried mangoes to Africa, Brazil, and other tropical regions. Today, hundreds of varieties exist, ranging from creamy and honey-sweet to fibrous, sour, spicy, or slightly resinous. The famous Alfonso is prized for its smooth texture and rich fragrance, while Southeast Asian varieties are often eaten both ripe and green. Mangoes provide vitamin C, vitamin A, fiber, and antioxidants that help protect cells from damage. Pomegranate. The pomegranate is one of the oldest cultivated fruits on Earth, with evidence of farming stretching back thousands of years in the region around modern Iran and Afghanistan. It became important to ancient Persian, Greek, Roman, Jewish, Christian, and Buddhist cultures. Its large number of seeds made it a natural symbol of fertility, abundance, unity, and rebirth. In Jewish tradition, the fruit became associated with righteousness and the commandments of the Torah. In Buddhist tradition, it was considered one of the blessed fruits, while medieval Christian artists used it to represent resurrection and the unity of the church. Beneath its hard red skin are hundreds of jewel-like arrows filled with sweet and tart juice. Pomegranates are rich in antioxidants and have been studied for their possible benefits to heart health, circulation, and inflammation. Pineapple. Pineapples originated in South America, where indigenous peoples cultivated and traded them long before Europeans arrived. Early European explorers gave the fruit its English name because its rough outer skin reminded them of a pine cone. When pineapples reached Europe, they became rare symbols of luxury because the tropical plants were extremely difficult to grow in cold climates. Wealthy families built heated glass houses just to produce them, and a single pineapple could cost the equivalent of thousands of dollars today. Some people even rented pineapples to display at dinners or carry to social events. The fruit contains bromelain, an enzyme that breaks down protein. This is why fresh pineapple can make the tongue tingle and why it is sometimes used to tenderize meat. Pineapple also provides vitamin C, manganese, and natural plant compounds. Kiwi fruit. Kiwi fruit originally came from China, where it was known as the Chinese gooseberry and valued as both food and medicine. Seeds were introduced to New Zealand in the early 20th century, where farmers developed larger and sweeter varieties. The fruit was later renamed after New Zealand's kiwi bird as part of an international marketing campaign. Although it looks unusual with its brown, fuzzy skin, the kiwi is botanically a berry, and the skin is completely edible. Green kiwis are the most familiar, but golden varieties have smoother skin and sweeter flesh, while rare red varieties contain a colorful ring around the center. Kiwi fruit is especially rich in vitamin C and contains an enzyme called actinidin, which helps break down protein and may support digestion. Orange. The sweet orange does not exist naturally in the wild. It is believed to be a hybrid of the pomelo and mandarin, created through centuries of cultivation in southern China. The name traveled through several languages, beginning with an ancient Sanskrit word for the orange tree before passing through Persian, Arabic, and French. English speakers used the fruit's name before they used orange as the name of a color. Before that, orange-colored objects were often described as yellow-red. Navel oranges, among the most popular eating oranges, cannot reproduce normally because they contain no useful seeds. They must be copied through grafting, meaning the trees are genetic descendants of a single, unusual orange tree discovered in Brazil. Oranges are famous for vitamin C, but they also provide fiber, folate, and flavonoids that may support blood vessels and immune function. Lemon. Lemons are another citrus hybrid and likely developed in the region around northeastern India before spreading through the Middle East and Mediterranean. They became especially important during long sea voyages because sailors frequently suffered from scurvy. a deadly disease caused by vitamin C deficiency. A Scottish doctor named James Lind conducted an early clinical experiment showing that citrus fruits could help sick sailors recover. Lemons later became standard supplies aboard ships. Their acidic juice has also been used as invisible ink because writing made with lemon juice becomes darker when exposed to heat. Lemon trees are unusual because they can flower and produce fruit throughout much of the year instead of entering a complete seasonal dormancy. Their juice and peel are widely used in food, drinks, cleaning products, perfumes, and traditional remedies. Date. Dates grow on tall palms that originated in the Middle East and North Africa. Archaeological evidence suggests that people have cultivated them for around 7,000 years, making them one of humanity's oldest farmed fruits. Date palms became symbols of prosperity, victory, and life in desert cultures because they could produce enormous amounts of food in extremely hot and dry environments. The fruit is naturally rich in sugar, and dried dates can contain more than 4/5 sugar by weight. This made them an ideal source of portable energy for travelers, soldiers, and trading caravans. A healthy date palm can produce hundreds of pounds of fruit each year and may continue living for more than a century. The large medjool variety is especially valued for its soft texture and caramel-like flavor. Scientists have even successfully sprouted ancient date seeds recovered from archaeological sites. Fig. The fig may be one of the earliest plants ever deliberately cultivated by humans. Evidence from the Jordan Valley suggests people were growing figs before the widespread farming of wheat and barley. A fig is not a conventional fruit, but a hollow structure containing many tiny inward-facing flowers. Certain wild figs rely on a tiny wasp for pollination. The wasp crawls through a narrow opening, spreads pollen, and may die inside. The fig then produces enzymes that completely break down the insect. Most commercial fig varieties are self-pollinating and never contain wasps. Figs have a soft, jam-like interior and provide fiber, minerals, and natural sugars. They have appeared in religious stories, ancient art, Mediterranean cooking, and traditional medicine for thousands of years. Dragon fruit. Dragon fruit grows on a climbing cactus native to Central America. French colonizers introduced it to Southeast Asia, where it adapted so successfully that countries such as Vietnam later became major global producers. The plant produces large night-blooming flowers that may be pollinated by bats, moths, or hand-pollinating farmers. The fruit has bright pink or yellow skin covered with green-tipped scales, giving it a dramatic appearance. Inside, the flesh may be white, pink, red, or purple, and is filled with tiny edible black seeds. Its flavor is usually mild and refreshing rather than intensely sweet. Dragon fruit has become popular in smoothies, drinks, desserts, and colorful fruit bowls. It provides fiber, vitamin C, magnesium, and antioxidants. Buddha's hand. Buddha's hand is one of the strangest citrus fruits because it develops into long, finger-like sections rather than a round body. It likely originated in Asia and received its name because its shape resembles a hand raised in prayer or offering. In China and Japan, the fruit became associated with happiness, long life, and good fortune. It is often displayed in homes, placed on religious altars, or given as a gift during celebrations. Unlike most citrus fruits, Buddha's hand contains almost no juice, pulp, or seeds. Its value comes from its intensely fragrant yellow peel, which can perfume an entire room. Cooks use the zest in desserts, drinks, preserves, and savory dishes, while perfumers value its fresh citrus aroma. Jaboticaba. Jaboticaba is a Brazilian fruit famous for growing directly from the trunk and thick branches of its tree. This unusual growth pattern makes a fruiting tree appear as though dark purple grapes have been attached to its bark. Jaboticaba is native to the Atlantic forests of Brazil and nearby regions. The fruits have thick skins that burst when bitten, revealing soft white pulp with a flavor similar to grapes or muscadines. Fresh jaboticabas spoil within only a few days, which makes them extremely difficult to export. In Brazil, people commonly eat them directly from the tree or turn them into juice, wine, liquor, jam, jelly, vinegar, and ice cream. Some trees take many years to begin producing fruit, but mature trees can provide heavy harvests several times during warm and rainy conditions. Guava. Guava originated in Mexico, Central America, and northern South America before Spanish and Portuguese travelers spread it throughout the tropical world. The entire fruit can be eaten, including its rind and seeds. Depending on the variety, the flesh may be white, yellow, pink, orange, or deep red. Guava has a powerful sweet fragrance and may contain significantly more vitamin C than an orange. Pink and red guavas are also rich in lycopene, the antioxidant commonly associated with tomatoes. In Brazil, thick guava paste is traditionally eaten with cheese in a combination called Romeo and Juliet. Guava is also used in juices, candies, sauces, jams, pastries, and savory dishes. The fruit's fiber, potassium, vitamins, and antioxidants make it one of the most nutritionally concentrated tropical fruits. Durian. Durian is a giant spiky fruit from Southeast Asia and is often called the king of fruits. Its hard shell is covered with sharp thorns, and large fruits can weigh several kilograms. Durian is most famous for its powerful smell, which has been compared to onions, cheese, gasoline, and sweet custard. Because the odor can spread through buildings, the fruit is prohibited in many hotels, airports, and public transportation systems. Inside the shell are sections of soft, creamy flesh with a rich combination of sweet, bitter, nutty, is prohibited in many hotels, airports, and public transportation systems. Inside the shell are sections of soft, creamy flesh with a rich combination of sweet, bitter, nutty, and savory flavors. People who love durian describe it as one of the most complex fruits in the world. Valuable varieties, such as Musang King, can sell for extremely high prices. Durian is eaten fresh and used in cakes, sticky rice, ice cream, candies, pastries, drinks, pizzas, and even hot pot. Grape. Grapes have been cultivated for thousands of years and have shaped trade, religion, agriculture, and entire regional economies. Table grapes are usually bred to be large, crisp, seedless, and easy to eat. Wine grapes are generally smaller, sweeter, and filled with seeds, while their thicker skins provide the color, tannins, and flavors needed during fermentation. More than 10,000 grape varieties are known, although only a small number dominate commercial production. The cultivation of grapes is called viticulture, and different varieties respond strongly to climate, soil, and geography. Dried grapes become raisins, with much more concentrated sugar and calories than fresh fruit. In Japan, luxury grapes are carefully shaped, measured, and grown in protected greenhouses with perfect bunches, sometimes selling for extraordinary prices. Leftover grape skins and stems are also being turned into plant-based materials resembling leather. Black sapote. Black sapote is a tropical fruit from Mexico and Central America related to the persimmon. It is commonly called the chocolate pudding fruit because its pale green exterior hides flesh that turns dark brown and extremely soft when ripe. Despite its appearance, the flavor is usually mild and sweet, more like honey, dates, or sweet squash than actual chocolate. When unripe, the fruit is hard, bitter, and unpleasant. Some communities historically used parts of the unripe fruit for stunning fish. Ripe black sapote is often blended with milk, citrus, juice, cocoa, or spices, and served like a dessert. It is rarely exported because it bruises easily and becomes overripe very quickly. Banana. Bananas are among the most widely produced and consumed fruits in the world. More than 1,000 varieties exist, but international markets are dominated by the Cavendish. Commercial Cavendish bananas do not produce useful seeds, so farmers create new plants from shoots growing around existing plants. This means most commercial bananas are genetically almost identical, leaving them vulnerable to disease. A similar situation destroyed the earlier Gros Michel variety, which once dominated global trade before a fungal disease devastated plantations. Wild bananas look very different and contain large, hard seeds surrounded by only small amounts of flesh. Botanically, the banana is a berry, while the plant it grows on is technically a giant herb rather than a tree. Bananas provide carbohydrates, potassium, vitamin B6, and fiber. Salak. Salak is called snake fruit because its reddish-brown skin has shiny, overlapping scales. It grows in clusters near the base of a short palm covered with sharp spines, making harvesting difficult and sometimes dangerous. The fruit is native to Indonesia, especially Java and Sumatra. Its thin skin peels away to reveal pale segments resembling large garlic cloves. The texture can be crisp like an apple, dry and crumbly, or soft and juicy depending on the variety. Its flavor ranges from sweet and honey-like to sour, nutty, or slightly fermented. Salak Bali is especially prized for its balanced sweetness. In Indonesia, the fruit is eaten fresh, pickled, candied, fermented, or made into chips. Peach. Peaches originated in China, where they have symbolized immortality, youth, and long life for thousands of years. They traveled west through Persia and along the Silk Road before reaching Europe. The fine fuzz covering a peach helps protect it from insects and reduces moisture loss. Nectarines are not a different species, but peaches carrying a genetic variation that produces smooth skin. White peaches usually contain less acid than yellow peaches, which makes them taste sweeter even when their sugar levels are similar. A fully ripe peach is extremely delicate and has a short shelf life, so supermarket fruit is often picked before it develops its best aroma and softness. Peaches contain vitamin C, carotenoids, fiber, and water, making them refreshing during hot weather. Miracleberry. Miracleberry is a small red fruit native to West Africa. It contains a protein called miraculin that attaches to the sweet taste receptors on the tongue. Under normal conditions, the protein has little effect, but when acidic food enters the mouth, miraculin changes shape and activates those receptors. Lemons then taste like sweet lemonade. Vinegar can taste like fruit juice, and sour berries may taste like candy. The effect can last from several minutes to nearly 2 hours. During the 20th century, researchers attempted to develop miracle berry products as alternatives to sugar, but regulatory problems prevented widespread commercial use. Today, the berries are popular at flavor tripping events where people taste sour foods after eating them. Mangosteen. Mangosteen is often called the queen of fruits. It has a thick purple rind surrounding soft white segments with a sweet, floral, and slightly citrus flavor. A famous legend claims that Queen Victoria offered a large reward to anyone who could bring her a fresh mangosteen, although historians debate whether this actually happened. The story still helped create the fruit's royal reputation. Mangosteen trees grow slowly, require warm tropical conditions, and may take many years to produce their first crop. The fruit is difficult to transport because the rind hardens and the delicate flesh spoils quickly. Mangosteen trees can produce fruit without normal fertilization, allowing some seeds to develop as genetic copies of the parent plant. Starfruit. Starfruit, also known as carambola, comes from tropical Asia. When sliced across the middle, its ridges create a perfect star shape. The entire fruit is edible, including the thin, waxy skin. Sweet varieties have a mild flavor, similar to grapes, pears, and citrus, while sour varieties can be intensely acidic. Starfruit contains vitamin C, water, and fiber, but it also contains a natural neurotoxin that healthy kidneys normally remove from the blood. People with serious kidney disease may be unable to filter it, potentially causing confusion, seizures, and other dangerous symptoms. The fruit is also high in oxalates, so people vulnerable to kidney stones may be advised to limit or avoid it. Breadfruit. Breadfruit is one of the most productive food plants in the world, and a mature tree can produce hundreds of fruits each year for several decades with relatively little care. The fruit originated in the Pacific Islands and became a major staple across Polynesia. When cooked before fully ripe, its pale starchy flesh has a texture similar to bread, potatoes, or roasted chestnuts. It can be baked, boiled, fried, mashed, fermented, or ground into flour. British expeditions once attempted to transport breadfruit plants to the Caribbean as an inexpensive food source for enslaved plantation workers. Today, researchers are again interested in the tree because it produces large amounts of nutritious food while requiring fewer agricultural resources than many annual crops. Pawpaw. Pawpaw is the largest edible fruit native to North America. It grows in forests and river valleys and has soft yellow flesh that tastes like a mixture of banana, mango, vanilla, and melon. Indigenous peoples valued pawpaws long before European settlement, and early explorers sometimes depended on the fruit for food. Historical accounts suggest it was enjoyed by figures such as George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. Despite its appealing flavor, pawpaw remains uncommon in supermarkets because it bruises easily and stays ripe for only a few days. The harvest season also lasts for only a short period in late summer. Pawpaw is now gaining attention among small farmers, chefs, and gardeners interested in native foods. Finger lime. Finger limes are narrow citrus fruits native to the rainforests of eastern Australia. Instead of ordinary juice-filled segments, their interior contains hundreds of tiny round vesicles that spill out like beads when the fruit is opened. These colorful pearls burst in the mouth, giving finger limes the nickname citrus caviar. Depending on the variety, the pearls may be pale green, yellow, pink, orange, or deep red. Indigenous Australians ate the fruits for generations before modern chefs began using them in seafood, desserts, sauces, and cocktails. Finger lime trees grow slowly and are protected by sharp thorns, making commercial cultivation difficult. Their rarity, striking appearance, and intense flavor keep prices high. Medlar. The medlar is an old European fruit that must become partly decomposed before it is pleasant to eat. Fresh medlars are hard, acidic, and astringent. They must go through a process called bledding, during which the flesh softens, darkens, and develops a sweet, wine-like flavor. Once ready, the interior can be eaten with a spoon or made into jams, jellies, and preserves. Medlars were extremely popular during the Middle Ages and appeared in literature and royal gardens, but they gradually disappeared as sweeter and easier to store fruits became widely available. Their flavor is often compared to spiced applesauce, dates, and baked pears. Tomato. The tomato is botanically a fruit and technically a berry, although it is usually treated as a vegetable in cooking. An American Supreme Court decision classified it as a vegetable for customs and tariff purposes, creating a legal definition that differs from the botanical one. Tomatoes originated in western South America, where wild relatives produce tiny berries. After reaching Europe, they were often grown only as ornamental plants because people feared their connection to the nightshade family. Tomato leaves and stems contain toxic compounds, but the ripe fruit is safe. Italians were among the first Europeans to adopt tomatoes widely, eventually making them central to sauces, soups, and other dishes. Thousands of varieties now exist in red, yellow, green, purple, orange, white, and nearly black colors. Watermelon. Watermelon originated in Africa, where early forms were valued more for water than sweetness. Wild watermelons were often hard and bitter, but they could survive in dry regions and provided travelers with stored hydration. Ancient Egyptian artwork shows that people gradually selected longer, sweeter, and redder fruits. Modern watermelons are around 92% water, which makes them especially refreshing in hot climates. Seedless watermelons are produced by crossing plants with different numbers of chromosomes, creating offspring that develop fruit but cannot form mature seeds. The result is not genetically modified in the modern laboratory sense, but created through controlled plant breeding. Watermelon also contains vitamin C, potassium, and lycopene, the pigment responsible for its red color. Jackfruit. Jackfruit is the largest fruit that grows on a tree, with individual fruits sometimes weighing more than a small child. It originated in South and Southeast Asia and became the national fruit of Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Jackfruits grow directly from thick branches and trunks because smaller stems could not support their enormous weight. When unripe, the flesh is pale, firm, and fibrous, with a neutral flavor that absorbs spices and sauces. This makes it a popular meat substitute, especially in dishes designed to resemble pulled pork. When ripe, the yellow bulbs become sweet and fragrant, with flavors resembling pineapple, mango, and banana. The skin and core release extremely sticky latex, so vendors coat their knives and hands with oil before cutting the fruit. A mature tree can produce an enormous amount of food each year, making jackfruit valuable in regions seeking reliable and productive crops.